This conference will now be recorded.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, sir. The respected speaker of today's session, Mr. P. Prashant Kumar, Automotive Homologation Consultant at Haritha Technologies Private Limited, Bangalore. Dear participants from various colleges, a warm welcome and good morning to one and all present. Thank you for all attending this 6 days FTP on Energy Management System. I'm Uma Maheshwari, AP Triple Department, RMD Engineering College. Now starting with the day 2 session of 6 days FTP on Energy Management System, let me give a brief introduction about today's speaker. We are pleased to welcome Mr. Prashant Kumar, a very special guest from Haritha Technologies Private Limited, Bangalore. And in this session, he'll be sharing with us his expert opinion on understanding battery management systems. He has completed his MTech in Vehicle Engineering and Transport Management at Central Institute of Road Transport, Pune, and BE in Automobile Engineering at Tamil Nadu College of Engineering, Anna University. He is a certified professional member of High Voltage Vehicle Safety Expert by NFSPA USA, certified for proficiency in automotive testing and certification from ARI Pune, certified for proficiency in automotive electronics and management system from ARAI Pune, certified master trainer for electric vehicle charging technology and business opportunity from the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, Delhi. Until date, he has successfully trained more than 4,500 plus students, 1,000 plus faculty, and 500 plus professionals in various automotive domains. He is a professional member of Society of Automotive Engineers India, Society for Smart E-Mobility Coimbatore, and Automotive Skill Development Council, Delhi. His work experience. He worked as a project team intern automotive guided troubleshooting analyst at Device Electronics Private Limited, Pune for 3 years, as a product design engineer powertrain transmission at Mercedes-Benz Research and Development India Private Limited for 2 years, and as a head operation and design L5 electric three-wheeler development at DC Energy Private Limited, Chennai for 2 years. At present, working as automotive homologation consultant at Haritha Technologies Private Limited, Bangalore, and also working as a part-time senior associate trainer, corporate and academic training, South India at Devices Electronics Private Limited, Pune. With that, I kindly ask all the participants that they give their full attention to Mr. Prashant Kumar, speaker of today's session, to enrich our knowledge in the field of battery management system and help me in welcoming him to this FDP session on energy management system. Thank you, everyone. Mr. Prashant Kumar, sir, please, sir.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. I thank the management of RMD, right, ma'am? Like it is.
Yes, sir.
RMD,
Yes, sir. Yes,
or
sir.
yeah. So Institute for giving me this opportunity. So I think today the whole, I think the FDP is on energy management system, and so energy is something so which is everywhere, and it's how today we have a lot of technology on how to better use those energy, right? So that's what something. And so I am a guy completely from automotive background. I don't know anything other than automotive domain, and that's my field of interest. And so today I thought, so ma'am told energy management system, so I thought let's talk about how energy is being managed in an electric vehicle. So what are all the challenges in managing the energy efficiently in an, and as an academic people, I believe today there are a lot of academic people. Even yesterday I have conducted a session called problem statement for research on electrical. We really got a good feedback of academic people join that, especially for people who are looking for doing PhD or who are guiding PhD scholars. They felt really helpful. And I believe, the academicians should gain that required knowledge from industrial people, and definitely their support is needed for industry people to meet all the challenging requirements, right? So with this, today I'm just, I believe all are able to see my screen. Ma'am, like you are able to see my screen, ma'am?
It is visible, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, fine. Yes, ma'am. So today we are going to discuss about some basic aspects of battery management system. There are so much of informations. Let us see in this particular 1 hour, whatever possible, we will just cover it, and we will have more question answer session. So that let us make it more interactive and more learning. More learning should be there. Okay. So first, let me understand. Let us understand about the battery management system, right? So battery management system. So when you talk about an electric vehicle, like this, so an electric vehicle will have components. So it will have a motor, it will have an inverter which is going to drive the motor, and end of the day you need the energy. So the energy source, the overall energy is being provided by the battery pack, which I am showing you here, right? This is an example of a battery pack, and this battery pack can be a lithium ion battery pack. It can be a nickel metal hydride type of battery pack. So there are so many types in the industry today. So there is no restriction that one company has to use only particular type of battery pack. So depending upon their different requirements, so they will go for many different types of batteries. So always remember, when you take an electric vehicle, generally the battery packs are always kept at a very safest place, right? In order to, and at the same time, the battery packs will be kept at the lowest place in order to meet the center of gravity requirements and the energy safety, the overall safety requirements given in the industry, right? So considering all these things, this is how electric vehicles battery pack will look like. And let me deep dive into a battery pack on how it will look inside, right? So when you go inside a battery pack, so when you look into a battery pack, this is what the battery pack's construction will look like, right? So you will have an underbody protection system. So this is generally to protect your battery pack from external damage, so because as I mentioned, these battery packs are kept at the lowest side of your vehicle. So from the bottom side, whenever you are driving your vehicle, you will have some crash, you will have some stones coming in, you will have water. There are chances that water can come in and leak inside. So you have underbody protection, and you have the main housing, housing system of the battery pack. This is the main housing, and this will be made of either aluminum or steel depending upon the different companies. And the very important component that we are going to focus today is the battery management system, the BMS, what we call. So that is going to sit inside this battery pack system, and it is going to sit along with the battery modules, right? This is called as the battery modules. So you can see these are all called as the battery module. And when you combine so much of modules, we call it as a pack. And when you take a module, inside a module we have so much of cells, right? It can be somewhere around some 10, 15, 20 cells combined in a combination of series and parallel. And these cells of combination of series and parallel of cells make this module, and number of modules like this will make a pack, right? So I'm not going to talk about how to size the cell, how to size the module, and all these are a different topic itself. So maybe if in future, if you people are able to attend my sessions in that area, definitely we will cover there. And so the today's focus will be on this particular area, the battery management system. Even though this particular part looks like very small in the whole battery pack, the whole system is being operated. The whole safety operation of the system is being completely managed by this black box, right? So in any aeroplane we used to call black box. So after an accident, the aeroplane, the people used to say, we have to check the black box. So similarly, this is what the black box of an electric vehicle will look like. And this black box is what we are going to discuss about today, right? And there are so much of high voltage connectors, and so much of components are there. Today however, we are not going to discuss about that, but our focus will be on the battery management system. But on overall understand that a battery pack will look like this, and a battery management system is placed integrated with the battery pack, right? Remember, it should be placed integrated with the battery pack, and there are many reasons why it should be placed like that. We will discuss about that, right? I'm very happy we have a overwhelming participation. Around 140 plus participants are there. Definitely, I will make sure the session will be useful, and any queries, feel free to reach me at the end of the session. We will solve all the queries. And if anything is missed, if I missed anything, definitely we feel free to reach me. I will give the contact details and everything by the end of the session. Okay. So let's go into the part. So the battery management system, as I mentioned. So next thing is, so let us understand what is a function of a battery management system. So generally, when people discuss with me, people think battery management system is something that is going to do balancing of cells and some parameters they are telling, right? But battery management system has lot of tasks to do. And so let us see what are all the functions it is going to perform in this particular battery pack, and how it is going to impact an electric vehicle. That is very much important. So the performance and function of the battery pack, the safety, even the safety of the, because the battery pack has to be proper, proper safety conditions should be done. Otherwise the whole, it cannot ensure the safety of the battery pack, right? The whole battery pack. So first, the safety of the BMS is to be considered. So how it is being safeguarded from external disturbances, and all these things we will discuss now. So the first thing is the function of the battery pack BMS. So the first function is the energy and power prediction. So when you take an battery management system of an electric vehicle, the first thing, the very important function is the battery's energy and power prediction, right? So if I have an electric vehicle, so I will say, sir, for example, if this particular vehicle is having a range of 300 kilometer per hour, and if I am saying this 300 kilometer per hour will, so what people will say, if I take any electric vehicle specification, what they will say this electric vehicle has an the overall range of 300 kilometer. Then they'll put conditions apply, right? The small word will be there, conditions apply. So there is a very big meaning for this word, conditions apply, right? Everywhere you will find this word, and even in electric vehicles also you will find this word, conditions apply. So it is the way, so here in electric vehicle, it is the way how the driver or the owner of the vehicle is going to use that electric vehicle, right? It is the way how he is going to use the electric vehicle, and it will change from owner to owner, right? If I am a owner of an electric vehicle, if I am using the electric vehicle in a good way, then I will have a good energy consumption and good power consumption, right? But if there is some person who is using the electric vehicle in a very harsh environment or in a very harsh way, he is driving the vehicle, then in his case the range will be very poor, right? For the same vehicle, it depends upon the driver's usage conditions, the environment, and many factors are there which decides the energy and power prediction of the system. And so when you talk about power prediction and energy prediction, when you come into electric vehicle, these are the parameters. So batteries state of charge. Let us put this whole session today as a pretty basic session. Let us strengthen ourselves in the basic things very clearly, and then further things you can take it forward, you know that. So let us strengthen ourselves in the basic, and anything you are seeing in the slide, if you are not understanding, sir, what is meant by state of charge, state of health, whatever the question, you feel free to ask, sir, madam. So any question is there, feel free to ask me. Definitely I will be able to answer your questions. So let us continue that anytime. Once the question is there, immediately you put it, sir, you put it, you take the mic and put it, so that by the way we are continuing the session itself, I will answer the questions. Okay. Ma'am, so meanwhile, ma'am, if any questions are there, kindly inform me, ma'am, so that I will answer that at the right time, at the time itself. Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Yes, yes. So first one is the battery state of charge. So if you take any battery pack, so as I mentioned previously, if you take any battery pack like this, so when I am driving the vehicle, it will say, if you take a mobile phone today, your mobile phone will say it is a 20% charge is there, 40% charge is there, 100% it is charged already. So that is what we call the SOC, state of charge. So how much percentage of charge is there, right, in the battery pack? And what is the function of the BMS here? So the BMS is doing a very important function, that the BMS is measuring the state of charge of the whole pack. First thing, pack level measurement of state of charge, and the second thing is module level measurement of state of charge, and third thing is cell level measurement of state of charge. Right? Let me take a picture of a cell so that it will be useful for you people. I forgot to take that picture. So let me just take that picture also in this slide, and so that it will be easy for you people to understand. So when you look at a cell, so this is what different types of cells that we can use in an electric vehicle. I hope you people might be aware of these things. So one is the cylindrical type of lithium ion cell, and a prismatic type of lithium ion cell, and we call it as pouch type of lithium ion cell, right? So these are the three different types of lithium ion cells that we can utilize, and every time, these kind of cells are what making a pack like this, right? So these kind of cells are what being combined in series and parallel combination and being made as a module. And similarly, so many modules are combined together to make a battery pack. So when I am saying battery state of charge prediction, that means the state of charge of the whole battery pack as well as every single cell level prediction also will be happening. And this is being conducted by the battery management system. And similarly, the battery state of health, SOH we call it as. So what is the difference between state of charge and state of health? What is the difference? So when I take state of health, it talks about, say, when I talk about state of charge, it talks about how much of charge is currently available, how much percentage of charge is available in the battery pack. But when I am telling state of health, that means the state of health parameter indicates how long this battery pack will properly function in this car. How long, either for 15 years, either for 10 years, either for 5 years. That reliability, that is what being described as state of health of a vehicle. So when you take a vehicle's state of health, that is a very, very important. So the BMS doing a very important function of monitoring and calculating the battery state of health, right? And based on all these parameter, it will also calculate the vehicle's range, because based on the state of charge, you will come to know, right? If the state of charge is only 30%, then your vehicle cannot be further moved normally. As usual, you cannot fully use the performance of the vehicle. So obviously there will be some restrictions on the power, right? So you ought to think about that. And so the battery BMS predicts the vehicle's range depending upon these parameters: state of charge, state of health, and all parameters, right? And to do this function, it is very important that it should monitor certain parameters. So when you take a BMS system like this, it has to monitor lot of parameters inside a battery pack. So the parameters can be a voltage, the parameter can be current, parameter can be temperature, and the parameter can be isolation resistance. We will also talk about that, right? And the parameter can be the leakage availability, the leakage detection, and all these things. Say for example, if any water or any acid or water or any environmental factors that is getting leaked inside the battery pack, that is coming inside the battery pack, even those things also has to be detected by the battery management system. So other than power prediction, the battery management system also does a job called monitoring and diagnosis. So it measures the voltage, it measures the current, it measures the temperature, it measures the isolation resistance of the whole battery pack, right? And the other thing is the communication part, right? So when I'm saying battery management system, the battery management system has a certain system called self supervisory control, CSC. That means cell supervisory control, or sometimes we call it as cell management controller, right? So what happens is every module will have a separate module supervisory controller, and those module supervisory controller will supply the information, will communicate the information of that particular module to the main BMS, the master BMS, and that's how a battery pack will work, a BMS will work. So the communication system between the charge control. That means the communication system inside a BMS is there in many phases. I will explain you about that. And the BMS is also doing the task of battery lifetime enhancement. So not only prediction of the lifetime with the help of state of health prediction estimation, it will also try to enhance the battery's lifetime by properly monitoring the temperature control, proper temperature control, proper power limitation, proper cell balancing. By doing all the tasks, it enhances the battery's lifetime, right? And also the BMS also does a function called actuation. So there are thermal management systems inside a battery pack, right? So thermal management system will be there, which is going to supply the cooling circuit for the coolant for the whole battery pack. So to actuation of the coolant system, so all these actuators are also being actuated by the BMS. So end of the day, BMS does many jobs, and one thing I missed is the emergency operations. So whenever there is a over voltage happening, over current being taken from the battery, all these kind of situations will be managed by the BMS only. So BMS is a very important factor in a electric vehicles system, and its success is very important for the success of the whole vehicle, right? So the energy, let us see now how the energy of this whole battery is being properly managed by this battery management system. So let us see how generally a battery management system is being developed. So generally for any people who are going to do research activity in this area, it will be really helpful for you people how the battery pack energy is being that means the battery pack has been developed in a vehicle system. So let us see that step by step. So the first thing is the vehicle power requirement and energy requirement. So when a BMS is going to be developed for an electric vehicle, the first thing that they will calculate is the vehicle power requirements and the vehicle's energy requirements, right? So if I say two-wheeler will not need, so if you say today's electric two-wheelers, there are some electric two-wheelers like Ampere electric two-wheeler, Hero electric two-wheeler, Ather electric two-wheeler. So there are these two-wheelers will not consume more than somewhere around 4 to 5 kilowatt of power of energy. And when you take a three-wheeler auto, a three-wheeler electric auto, the three-wheeler auto will not consume more than 10 kilowatt of power output, right? And similarly, the cars, if you take the cars, require somewhere around 30 to 50 kilowatt of power, and buses will need somewhere around 150 to 200 kilowatt of power, right? Depending upon the type of buses. So first thing that you have to calculate is the energy requirements of the vehicle. And once that is done, then you have to transfer that energy requirements in the vehicle level into energy requirements at battery level, and then requirements for the BMS level, right? Then both these things have to be done, right? And then second thing is, once you decide that energy requirement of the battery pack and the BMS, and then we have to decide what is the type of battery and what is the type of BMS. So we are going to see a lot of different types of BMS, and so we have to decide which type we are going to go. And once we decided, then we have to talk about the battery characteristic. We have to do a lot of testing on the battery pack, and then we have to understand the characteristics of the battery pack, and then we have to determine how we are going to group the battery pack. That means how much series of cells, how much parallel combination, and what is the topology of BMS, what is the functions, and we have to give proper functional requirements for the BMS at this stage. And once all these things are completed, then the mechanical structure, as I told previously, the casing, the enclosure, all these things, how you are going to install, where you are going to install the BMS. So those installation parameters has to be fixed, and then the algorithms, all these things to be desired, and finally the battery pack, the battery management system has to be tested. So this is the way the battery management system has been developed for an electric vehicle, right? And let us come to the very important part of the battery system, the safety, and how the BMS is going to help on that. When you look at the safety of a battery pack system, so we have to classify that into cell intrinsic safety, cell level safety, and module level safety, BMS level safety, and passive safety, right? Let us not concentrate on all these areas. These are all out of this particular session. Let us focus on this particular area, the BMS safety, right? So BMS safety, in the sense that BMS is going to monitor going to look after the over voltage protection, over current protection, and both these parameters will be noted down by the BMS. Also, very important thing is the over temperature protection, right? Either a very low temperature like minus 50 degrees Celsius, or a very high temperature like 40 plus 50 degrees Celsius plus 50 degrees Celsius. Both the extreme conditions have to be monitored by the BMS, and all these parameters will come under the standard called ISO 26262. I request the people working in the academic area to note down this standard, because it is quite important that this standard will be useful, and when a person knows about this standard, they have more chances of getting the job in the company. So the ISO 26262 is the very important functional safety standard, which is applicable for BMS and other similar electronic systems. So the BMS also helps you on the proper cooling system, right, ensuring the proper thermal management, and that is what the cell level block diagram of the system, right? And let us understand the cell's variation with the temperature. So when you see a lithium ion cell, different according to different temperature that it is been shown, the cell will be having different problems and different consequences, right? So when you have a cell in a temperature range of minus 60 degree to minus 10 degrees Celsius, so this region, in this region, the voltage, the cell's voltage will be in a very low condition, very low, and sometimes some cells will go over voltage. So at this time, the consequences is, yeah, because of the low temperature and low voltage, there will be lithium plating happening in the lithium cells, what I've shown you here. These lithium ion batteries will start lithium plating, and immediately the function, what is the action is, immediately the BMS should turn on the heater, right? The BMS is the one which is going to work in this area. It is going to turn on the heater. So depending upon the temperature measured from the system, see, you can see very clearly the temperature measurement, the voltage measurement, which is taken by the BMS. It calculates the temperature, and based on that, it understands that based on this temperature, this might cause lithium plating, this might cause anode dissolution, this might cause overheating, overcharge. So depending upon the consequences, the BMS will do some action, and something like turn on the heater. Sometimes it should cut off the current, shut off, right? It should shut off the current that is flowing from the vehicle, because it is too much extreme low current, minus 60 degree and all. If the BMS allows the electric vehicle battery to work, then it will damage the battery. So that is why the BMS does a very good job, that it shut off the current flow, right? And similarly, when you see the temperatures like this, positive temperatures above 60 degrees Celsius, above 60 degrees Celsius, say 60 to 80, and then plus 120 degree to 130 degree, and plus 180 degree to 190 degree, these kind of situations, the systems will be performing differently, say over temperature. And once the over temperature happens, then you have the short circuit happening, you have the flammable gas. So when your temperature goes more than an extreme level, then there are chances of flammable gas generation from the battery pack. So when the battery pack system happens, anything happens like this, immediately your battery pack shut off the current flow, or immediately you can say, we call it as the internal CAD open. That means the internal every battery pack will have a what you say, an internal short circuit system, and that will prevent the battery pack from short circuit. So that that system will be generally turned on or turned off in the system. And similarly, when you talk about this other consequence, over temperature, there will be another consequence called SEI layer breakdown. See, we call it as solid electrolyte interface layer breakdown. This is in the battery pack, in the cell level, battery pack cell level. So those, whenever the BMS detects such problems, immediately it will shut off the current. It will disconnect the battery pack from the electric vehicle. So the battery pack is doing a very important job on the battery, on the electric vehicle, that it is safeguarding the whole vehicle from all these kind of conditions, right? So that is a very important function of the BMS, and BMS ensures that that it is been properly managed by the system properly in the electric vehicle system, right? And when you talk about this CID, so one person asked me what is CID. Is the protection device. It is basically the internal protection device. So basically it is kept inside the lithium ion cell and modules, so to protect the battery pack. So basically this is what the different temperature range, and generally the safe operating temperature for any battery pack is 20 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius. So 45 degrees Celsius, up to which the battery packs can perform in a very good way. It can perform in, and the best temperature for any battery pack is 23 to 25 degrees Celsius, right, for the lithium ion battery pack. So the battery management system will ensure that the battery pack is being maintained in this temperature properly using the thermal management system, right? And this is what happens. So whenever you have the stage by stage, you can understand that. So generally, sometimes if there is an accident on a battery pack, the accident on an electric vehicle, if there is any sharp object that is going to penetrate on the battery pack, even that can create lot of leakage of the electrolyte, and then you will have some emission of the gases, and then it will lead to explosion. So if the battery pack, if the BMS system intervenes at this stage, once immediately you have a leakage, immediately when the battery BMS system determines the leakage, and if it performs the action, then there will be no explosion. But if the BMS is not performing at the right time, if it is not properly understanding the leakage, then it might end up in thermal runaway and explosion. So the battery management system has a very, very important task when it takes into, when we take in consideration of the electric vehicle, right? And similarly, when you take an electric vehicle system, the temperature and the cycle life has a very good relation. When you say, you might be knowing the electric vehicles can be charged and discharged at different ratings, say 1C, 2C, 3C. That means, say for example, when I am saying a battery pack can be charged with a continuous rating of 20 ampere, say when I'm calling it as 20 ampere battery pack, that means the normal charge rate is 20 ampere. And when I am saying 2C, that means 2 times the charge current, that means 40 ampere. And if it is 3C, that means 3 into 20, it is 60 ampere. 60 ampere supply. But that 60 ampere supply, it cannot withstand continuously. It can only withstand for few seconds or few minutes, right? So when you are deciding the battery pack, when you are developing the battery pack, we have to decide also the C rating of the battery. And when you're selecting the cell also, we have to consider the C rating, because when you discharge the cells in more and more C rating, obviously the temperature will rise in the battery pack, and it will reduce the cell life cycle. You can see very clearly, if that cell is being discharged with 3C current, the cell life cycle is only 750 plus something, like somewhere around 800. But when I am discharging and charging it in around 2C rating, it is somewhere more than 1000, around 1100. And if it is if I am discharging it and charging it with 1C rating, I am having more lifetime, right? So the C rating, the current rating, the C rating, charge rating of the battery pack is very important, and the BMS should be sized and selected as per these conditions also, right? So that is what the relationship between the battery pack. So when you take a battery pack, you have to you can say hot temperature also, there are some problem. So a vehicle, an electric vehicle will consume, say for example, in this case, you can see the Nissan Leaf. So Nissan Leaf is an electric car. So that Nissan Leaf is consuming very low energy in hot condition, in the hot climate. But the same Nissan Leaf, if you are taking the cold temperature, it is consuming very, very high energy, right? So when it is the relation. So when you are taking an electric, when you are developing an electric vehicle, and when you are developing a battery management system, we should make sure it will properly work on both the sides, right? So if I'm saying, sir, it will work only good in a hot condition, if it will not good properly function in cold temperature, then what the people will do in temperatures, in the conditions in Ooty and Kodaikanal and these areas, right? So those people also need a proper functioning of their vehicle. So the battery management system which you are going to develop should be able to perform the function in the same way at both the cases, hot temperature also as well as the cold temperature also. So the electric vehicle owner should be having the same, almost same energy consumption in both the cases, right? That is a very important function we have to see for a battery management system. So battery management system also does a job, I told, the thermal management. So you generally know HVAC system, our heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system in a car. But when you take an electric vehicle, the electric vehicle battery needs a separate thermal management system, and the thermal management will something like the same components what you use in an HVAC system. The same components will be there, but this system will be controlled by a battery management system controller, right? So that is what a very important part that we have to understand, that the whole system where the battery pack's temperature is being controlled by the BMS. So generally what it is actually controlling, I told some actuators, right? So the actuator can be like this, something like this. So there is a valve, there is a coolant valve which is there in the thermal management system. So the BMS is the one which is going to control this valve, right? If that according to the temperature, if the temperature is, say, already the temperature is very low, cool, already it is cooled, I don't want to further cool down the battery. So immediately what it will do, the valve will be opened towards the chiller bypass valve. So it will not go to the chiller, it will directly come to the battery pack itself, right? Because I don't want the chilling now, cooling system right now, right? So that is how the system will work accordingly. So if the battery pack temperature is increasing too much, then the battery pack, the coolant valve will be opened accordingly, and then the battery, the coolant will be circulating into the radiator, and then as per the same HVAC system, and then it will come to the battery pack, right? So according to the different conditions, and also it will get the information from the pressure sensor of the coolant system. It will also measure the temperature sensor of the coolant system. All this information will come to the battery management system, and the battery control unit decides that according to these parameters sensed, it will decide which valve to be opened and closed, right? So consider that thermal management system is one of the key function of the battery management system in an electric vehicle, right? So as I mentioned, it performs, it monitors the parameters such as voltage, current, temperature, and all these parameters are measured at both the conditions, while charging as well as discharging, right? So discharging means when your vehicle is running, correct? When your electric vehicle is running, during the running time also, every millisecond, my vehicle's voltage, my battery's voltage, current, temperature will be monitored. Even now I used the vehicle, I have just parked the vehicle. Even during parking condition also, your battery BMS will be running. Even though you have turned off the vehicle, the BMS will be running, will be consuming a milliampere of current, and it will be continuously monitoring the safety of the whole battery pack. And even if you are charging the vehicle, when you are charging the electric vehicle, even that condition also, the BMS will take care whether the proper functionalities are there, right? So as I mentioned, it estimates everything, and it is also interfaces with the vehicle control unit. So the BMS system collects all the information. So the BMS system, as I mentioned, collects all the information from here, and it will transfer the information from here to the vehicle controller. There will be a separate a vehicle control unit. So it transfers the information to the vehicle control unit, and based on that, the vehicle control unit will decide the required functions, right? And let us go deep one by one. So as I mentioned, the power prediction, so it will measure the over current, over voltage, over temperature, under temperature. So all these parameters it is measuring. Second thing is constant supply of energy. So when I am running an electric vehicle, say if I am going to travel from Chennai to Coimbatore, right? I am now taking an electric vehicle. So how I am going to decide that I'm going to take the electric vehicle? Because Chennai to Coimbatore, say for example, if the distance is, say for example, 450 kilometers, say 500 kilometers something, right? So my vehicle will show me in the dashboard that the range of the vehicle is 600 kilometer or 500 kilometer, right? If it is showing 500 kilometer, and my distance between Chennai to Coimbatore itself is 500 kilometer. Now I am, as a customer, I am having a question. It is showing 500 kilometer, but whether it will, surely it will give you 500 kilometer, right? So whether the prediction done by the BMS is accurate, right? The accuracy is very important, right? Then only the reliability will be there for the customer. So whatever the range that is being predicted by the electric vehicle BMS in the module in the customer, that means in the display it is showing, how I should ensure. So it will be ensured by proper it will guarantee a constant supply of energy. By doing that only, I can ensure that that 500-kilometer range will be reached by the car, right? So that is a very important very important function of the BMS, to guarantee a constant supply of energy, right? And at the same time, I should not say it is showing 500-kilometer, but only for 100-kilometer you will be able to run more than 80, 90, 100-kilometer and all. After that, you cannot run your car for even 50-kilometer. If I say whether you will accept, right? No one will accept it, right? So I want the same performance for an electric vehicle. I want the same performance, same behavior of the vehicle throughout the 500-kilometer. So the constant supply of energy, constant performance is what an electric vehicle driver will expect, correct? So we have to decide, we have to consider all these parameters when we are developing the BMS. And when you look at the BMS in the parked state, the parked state, that means the vehicle is in off condition. Now it has been just parked state. In that state also, it will go to sleep mode, and initially it will be turned off, and then after several minutes it will turn on, and it will start monitoring all the parameters what I told, the voltage, current, all the temperature, everything, right? In the charge state, it will, so if you are connecting a charger to an electric vehicle, immediately the battery management system has some data collection from some sensors. So some sensors will be kept around your car, and continuously during the charging time, say for example, you have kept your car charging in a charging slot, right? And somebody comes and dashes your car, somebody crashes on your car. So immediately what will happen? That's the question. My vehicle is now charging using a very high fast charger. Immediately a car is crashing on my car or dashing on my car. So what is going to happen now? Immediately your battery pack will sense that collision at any direction of the vehicle, at all the direction of the vehicle, anywhere the collision is happening. Immediately it will disconnect the battery pack from the charger. That is how the BMS makes it safer, right? And now let us understand the communication, how this is going to happen. Let me show the pictorial representation, so that because the time is very less, I don't know whether you will be able to see everything, but let me show that this picture, so that you will be able to understand the key functionalities, right? So when you look at the BMS system, as I told, every module, this is called a module, right? And I told every module will have a separate supervisory control system, right? This is called a cell supervisory circuit. We call it as CSC, right? And this is your module 1. This is the module 2, module 3. So as I mentioned in the first slide very clearly, so this particular slide, you can understand this is the module 1, module 2, module 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So like this, so many modules are there, right? Similarly, so when you take that, every module will have a separate cell supervisory control, right? And you have a separate battery monitoring unit. This is called as this master unit. This is called as the master unit, right? So every module will have a cell supervisory control circuit. So what is the function of this cell supervisory circuit? These are the 3 functions. The CSC circuit should monitor the 3 important parameters: cell temperature, cell voltage, and it is also performing the task called cell balancing, right? That means this cell supervisory circuit will monitor all these parameter and will transfer this information through CAN network, controller area network. Through controller area network, it transfers the information to the master BMS. Actually, this is called the BMS, right? And this BMS is doing the all algorithm, all calculation, decision making, everything will be done by the BMU only. But this CSC system is just doing the sensing activity, measuring activity. Sometimes the CSC system also can do the balancing system also. So it is sometimes depending upon the customer's requirement. You need to decide whether the cell balancing is need to be there at every cell circuit level, or it should be at the master, on the master level, right? Depends on that, we have to decide. So this is how so the CSC is the main functionality, cell supervisory circuits. And the thing is, the BMS will control all cell supervisory circuits, and every cell supervisory circuit will only able to control that particular cell module. right? So if this cells or supervisory circuit is there, it cannot control this particular module, right? It can give control only on this module. It can take data from only this module, and no other what do you say, no other control it can provide on the other modules. At the same time, if any problem happens to the whole battery pack, say for example there was a crash, the whole electric vehicle had a crash impact, immediately this service disconnect, what you can see here, this service disconnect, which is continuously, it is actually in series connection connected with all the modules. So any crash happens on the electric vehicle, immediately your electric vehicle service disconnect will disconnect automatically, and your whole modules will be disconnect. It is not only the battery pack will be disconnected, even the module level disconnection will happening. Is there any question, ma'am? Like, kindly please mute your audio. Kindly please mute your audio. If unless there is any question, just if there is circuit, cell supervisory circuit is the system which is going to sense the voltage and all the parameters, and it is going to supply all the information to the battery management system. And the battery monitoring system is based on the information received from the cell supervisory circuits. It decides the battery cell level, and also that means I told cell level, module level measurement, but this BMU, the battery management system, has the freedom to do the battery level measurement. So battery level current measurement, say if the whole battery pack is having say the total voltage is 500 voltage, so that 500 voltage will be measured by the battery monitoring unit, that we call it as the master unit. And similar way, the whole battery pack is supplying say somewhere around 200 ampere of current, 300 ampere of current, then that will be shown here by the cell current, battery current measurement unit, right? So all these things are done by the master unit, which I am showing you here. But cell level, that means module level and cell level parameter measurement will be done by the supervisory circuits, right? I hope you got the proper understanding in this area, right? And you can see there is a component called HVIL, which is mentioned here. This is called high voltage interlock circuit, interlock loop. This is something which is connected to connected for safety. Say if, for example, if someone unknowingly opens the BMS, right, unknowingly, if the vehicle is on, unknowingly, you know, if I'm a service technician, I don't know what is meant by electric vehicle, I am directly opening the service screws of the lid, the top of the BMS. So the every lid of the high voltage system will have a HVIL loop, HVIL switch. So whenever someone unknowingly opens the battery management system, this HVIL will be disconnected, and this is also being controlled by the battery monitoring unit, right? That is a BMS system only, right? So this is how you know, safety and security is being ensured by the battery management system. And let me show you how it can be done. So we have a very, you know, short span of time. So as I mentioned, so these are the parameters will be measured. So cell and module level voltage, temperature, pack level current, pre-charge temperature, bus voltage, pack voltage, and isolation. Isolation, I will explain you that. So this is how and let us understand now the cell supervision techniques. So generally, when you take the cell supervision techniques, cell supervisory circuits, it can be of different types. So it can be a successive approximation register type of converter. So generally, in this case, the cells will be sequentially measured. Say for example, if this particular module, say this particular module has say somewhere around 20 cells, 20 lithium cells. So every cell, series of cells will be cell by cell, it will be monitored. Sequential cell monitoring will be there, right? I will show the picture of it in the coming slide. And similarly, there will be other monitoring type, that is called as the sigma delta converters, what we call. So that permanent monitoring of the cell voltage will be there. And this SAR, that means the successive approximation registers, will be kept in the cell supervisory circuit. and generally it will take the samples of the data, right? It will take the samples of the current flow, it will samples of the voltage level, and it will follow the SNH circuit. We call it as sample and hold circuit, right? So those sample and hold circuits will be implemented in the BMS, then implemented in the cell supervisory circuit, and they will continuously monitor the modules current and voltage. And sometimes there will be dedicated sample and hold circuit also possible for cell level. Say if your module has 20 cells, every cell out of the 20 cells can have a separate 20 SNH module, that means sample and hold circuit, so which can monitor the current and flow data of the cell, and it can be transferred using an analog to digital converter by using the analog voltage multiplexer, right? So that is also possible in a system. That is depend upon the safety requirement, and depend upon the cost of the BMS. We will decide whether we will need a dedicated sample and hold circuit, or we will have a module level sample and hold circuit, right? Depending upon, either you can create a SNH circuit for single cell level, as well as you can create a SNH circuit for 10 cells at a time and measure that. So that is also one way how it goes, right? And this is how it will look like. Say for example, this is your battery pack, and you can have a sample and hold circuit, and the sample and hold circuit will transfer the information, will convert the analog data into digital data, so using a ADC circuit, and then we will put it in the we'll put it for the your battery management system. Some other way, I told separate SNH circuit, so separate sample and hold circuit. So these circuits will measure the current, measure the voltage, measure the temperature. So all samples will be measured from the individual cell, and individually information will flow to the unit. We will have the multiplexer unit where it will be all the information will be provided, and the multiplexer will convert that to the analog digital converter, right? So this is also one of the area, one of the methodology what we can use. And when you talk about balancing, so very important factor of BMS. So it performs two types of balancing, as you would have read it somewhere, generally active balancing and passive balancing. So active balancing is let me come to that. So when you have a battery pack, when you have when you have a number of cells like this, so this is cell 1, this is cell 2, this is cell 3, this is cell 4, right? So what happens is, if one cell is weak, right, if this one of the cell becomes weak, it is not having proper energy consumption, then this cell will, if that is not properly balanced, then there are chances that this cell can damage the other cells also, right? So there are chances, if this is one lithium ion cell, this is another lithium ion cell, and this is another one, if this particular cell is weak, if that is not properly balanced, then it will make the other cells nearby also to weak, right? Then the whole, if the two cells becomes weak, then the whole battery module will become weak, right? Then the whole module will not be able to perform its task. And if, say for example, if you take an electric vehicle, electric car, an electric car will might somewhere have around 20-30 modules. So think about, if one to 10 cells get damaged in a module, the whole module will not work. And if 1 or 2 modules get damaged, then the whole energy output from the battery pack will get damaged. So it is very, very important. The parameter is the cell balancing, and let us see how it has been done by the system. Say one of the ways is called the passive charge balancing or passive charge equalization. So how it is done? Passive charge equalization is, we will have a separate resistor kept in junction with the cell, every cell, and you will have a switch connected to it. So whenever particularly this cell is being noted that this cell is being weak, becoming weak immediate, or for example, when I'm charging a battery pack, when I am doing charging of a battery pack, I am seeing my my CSC circuit, the self supervisory circuit, understands that this particular cell is becoming very weak. Immediately it will operate this switch, right? For example, if consider that this cell is getting overcharged, right? This cell is getting overcharged, and immediately the self supervisory circuit will switch on this switch, and it will on the transistor, which will connect to the transistor resistor, and it will connect it to the resistor, and this resistor will dissipate the excess amount of charge. Say for example, if this cell is being overcharged, this resistor will transfer the excess amount of charge, and it will absorb it, and it will dissipate it in the form of heat. So whenever you have a passive charge equalization, the BMS will be hot. You can touch and feel the BMS. When your BMS is hot during working condition, that means it is acting as a passive charge equalization. So like this, every cell level there will be a separate switch, separate resistor. So if there are 20 cells, then separate resistors will be there for 20 cells. So this is cell level passive charge equalization, right? And sometimes there is another way that you can do active charge equalization. What is that? I will show the picture. I will show the picture of it. So active charge equalization means instead of putting it, instead of instead of using a resistor here, what I will do is I will take a switching mechanism from one cell to another cell. So what I will do is, this is one way I can do. Say for example, I will connect a capacitor in series. What I will do is, if this cell is having excess charge and this cell is having a lower charge, say this cell is reached a 4 voltage already, that means actually you have a cutoff voltage called 4.0 voltage, and lithium battery is not safe more than 4.0 voltage. And whenever the BMS detects that this particular cell has crossed the 4.0 voltage, immediately this switch will turn on and the power will be going to the capacitor, and the capacitor will store that energy. And whenever it sees that some other cell, S2 S3 cell, other cell is being having lesser charge, immediately this switch will turn on and the charge will flow from the capacitor to the other cell, right? So this is how the capacitive type active, this is called active balancing, because the cell power, the cell energy is being transferred from one cell to another cell. It is not wasted in the term of heat. This is called as active balancing, and the active balancing can be happening using a which is going to just transform the excess charge into heat and dissipate it. So we are going to waste energy in this area. However, using an active type of balancing, I am going to utilize the excess energy or waste energy from the one cell to the another cell using this methodology, right? And there are many challenges. So doing an active balancing system is not a very simple thing. So when you go for active balancing, your BMS cost will increase. So when according to your application, you should not select a active balancing system for a two-wheeler vehicle or a three-wheeler vehicle, right? So because those are all very cost sensitive market. But if I'm going for a truck or a bus or a car, then obviously I have to go for active balancing, because we have to ensure a very huge amount of high level of safety requirement and performance requirement compared to a two-wheeler and three-wheeler, right? And that is why active balancing is most widely used in passenger cars and trucks and buses. But some premium two-wheeler company and a premium three-wheeler company, say for example, take the case of Ather Energy. So Ather Energy is a premium two-wheeler company. So that kind of premium two-wheelers, they will follow the active balancing system, and budget vehicles will go for passive balancing, because passive charge equalization is cheaper, because we just need to use a resistor for it. But in active charging equalization, we have to put a capacitance, and we have to have a separate cell superatory controller. We have to, that is to be there to monitor all these things, right? So that's how the system works. And we also have a separate isolation. That means even transformers also can be used as a active balancing technique. Transformer isolated active balancing technique is also one of the way you can utilize. So instead of using a capacitor and inductor, you can also use a transformer as a system of connecting the performing the balancing, and you can at a time you can perform balancing at multiple cells also. That is one way. And one more way is that the recent application is the bidirectional DC-DC converters. So today we are able to we are able to make module level bidirectional DC-DC converter. So if example in this case, if this particular cell is having a 4.2 voltage, which is 0.2 voltage more than the threshold,
right? But I need only 4 voltage. I cannot have more than that. And consider this cell is having 3.8 voltage, which is 0.2 voltage lesser than the threshold. So now I can transfer the 4.2 voltage into 3.8 voltage using a separate bidirectional DC-DC converter at the cell level. This is the recent advancement that electric vehicle companies are using. You would have seen bidirectional controllers in a larger scale, so converting from 500 voltage into 48 voltage and those things. But these kind of bidirectional converters can be placed in the cell to cell level, where from 4.2 voltage to 3.8 voltage, so cell voltage can be transferred in that way also. So that is also one of the application. But to perform all these things, the estimation is very important, right? So the SOC estimation is there. So I don't know whether I'll be able to cover that, but let me put some examples. What are all the ways, what are all the methods the state of charge can be estimated? Because if you want to properly balance the battery pack, if you want to properly balance the battery pack or monitor the battery pack, the very important parameter is SOC, right? The state of charge. So how we are going to monitor it? SOC is going to be monitored. That is very important. So there are many methods it can be monitored. I will not go deep right now immediately, but let us understand surface level. If you want more deep information, you can attend my upcoming sessions which we are planning. So the methods are like, characteristic. One is the open circuit voltage level monitoring, and we call it as another area is the ampere hour integral type of estimation method. And other type is the model based method. You can use Kalman filters, you can use H infinity filters, you can use particle filter technology to measure the SOC. And sometimes using some data driven techniques like neural networks, deep learning, also you can monitor the state of charge. Right now these two are becoming model based state of charge estimation is becoming more prevalent in the automotive industry nowadays. And data driven is something which has been looked at the upcoming in future. Definitely you will see the data driven techniques prevailing in the state of charge estimation, right? And so I may not directly able to, because the timeline is there, so I am not bringing directly that point. So that's how the things work. So maybe I will, for example, I will just show you. So this is a layout of a Kalman filtering method generally. So you will have a battery model which is developed, and the battery will be the Kalman filtering system will be there. So it will obviously it is basically an adaptive filtering algorithm, right? So it will keep on measuring the parameters from the system, and based on the measured voltage and the error signal penetrated, and it will obviously decide the estimated voltage of the system, right? So this is how the system will work like. Right now I'm not able to give complete information, but understand the state of health charge estimation is very important. At the same time, state of health estimation is there. And so state of health estimation, why I need, because I told you very clearly, state of health estimation is very important to understand the battery pack's lifetime, how long the battery pack will look like. So there are different methods being used for state of health estimation. Even this also, I cannot dive deeper in 1 hour session, but understand these are the different techniques that has been used. One is the direct measurement method technique, and the indirect analysis method. And these two methods are almost obsolete right now. Most of the companies are not using these two methods, but still some companies in India, they are trying to use this only. And there are other model based methods even in the state of health estimation also. But the problem is, without proper state of current estimation, without proper SOC estimation, you cannot properly estimate the SOH. So the accuracy of SOC acts as a very, very important parameter in SOH estimation, right? Even these techniques are there, but they are all sensitive to the SOC estimation. So if your SOC, state of charge of the battery pack, is not being estimated properly by the battery pack, then your SOH cannot be accurately estimated. So you cannot accurately estimate the lifetime of your battery pack, right? At the same time, state of power, that is one more parameter. So state of power means, say for example, if your vehicle is having only 30% charge, only 30% charge is remaining, and now I am expecting the car to run at 200 km/h, whether it is possible? Whether it is possible? No. So my battery pack, my BMS will check the state of charge of the battery. It is saying 30%, and immediately when the accelerator, the driver is even jumping on the accelerator, the vehicle will not travel more than 40-50 kilometer, because there is a limitation. So the state of power estimation will be there. So the battery management system will estimate the state of power. It is the maximum power that can be released or absorbed by the battery in a predetermined time interval. So that maximum power will be estimated by the battery pack, by the BMS, and based on that it will decide whether I can switch, I can supply the power to the motor or not, or the inverter or not, right? So those are the very important parameters, right? So so with this in mind, so understand the very important, three very important functions: state of charge, state of power estimation, and state of health estimation being performed. So because of time limitation, I cannot definitely go further. So I believe this would have given an overview on this battery management system, what are all the functions it is doing, and definitely there will be so much of queries, and feel free to you can also note my number and the email ID. Feel free to reach my email ID and phone number, and this is our office number, so you can also reach us in WhatsApp. Feel free to reach us any queries post the session, any query relevant to electric vehicle, any query relevant to automobile. Feel free to reach us. Definitely we'll be able to support you. And so I'm open to questions now. So right now I have tried to given, because the time limitation is there, it is a 1 hour session only. So based on that, whatever the questions, I'll start answering it. So one person has asked, how can I relate the number of battery module with battery management system for non-interruptible power supply? Number of battery module with battery management system, right? Very clearly I can understand, Mr. Satyanathan. If you see, if you take the battery management system, the thing is, say, as I mentioned you very clearly, there are cell supervisory level circuits. So as every cell supervisory circuit will know how much cells are there, how much number of cells are there, how much modules are there, and based on the number of cell supervisory modules, you will be able to know what is the number of what do you say, the total amount of power. So generally this is the CSC system is what transferring the information from the cells to the modules, and module to the battery pack using the CAN communication. So using the CAN communication, you can based on the voltage, based upon, you have asked how can I relate the number of battery modules. That means, say for example, if one module is, say the total battery pack is having 600 voltage, right? I am getting 60 voltage from one module, and so that means 10 modules are there connected in series. So 60 10 modules, I am connecting it in series. I am making it as a 600 voltage. So based upon the open circuit voltage being measured from the battery pack, it will decide the total number of battery packs, sir. And there is another question from Miss Yatisha. How BMS will manage the acceleration and deceleration of the vehicle? If acceleration and deceleration is more, it directly impact the lifetime of the vehicle. Yes, obviously, Miss Yatisha, obviously, say that is what I told: power prediction and power management. So when you take let me show that. Let me show this picture very clearly. This is something, this is enough to explain you everything, I would say. This is something which is enough to explain you everything. So when you look at the electric vehicle, the whole battery system, so this is where your power flow will be there, right? So the battery current will be flowing. So Yatiksha, are you in line? You are there in the session? I believe you are there in the session, right? So the whole battery pack has a current sensor and a voltage sensing measurement will be there, and the BMS will monitor the current flow. So when you are doing acceleration or when you are doing deceleration, braking your car, both the cases. Excuse me. Yes. So you will have a current sensing measurement. So the current sensing, the data will be measured by the BMU module, and based on that, it will decide what is the acceleration current which is happening, and based on that, it will immediately control the CSC circuits, the cell supervisory circuits. Because what happens is, if the BMU does not have a proper control with the CSC circuit, then what happens is, if the current value is very higher, as you mentioned, acceleration and deceleration is very higher, as what do you say, as the acceleration and deceleration, both the cases, right? Because electric vehicle can regenerate also, you know, electric vehicles can regenerate electric current also. So both the cases, acceleration, deceleration, both the cases, it will measure the current flow from this current monitoring sensors, and it will immediately, if we take the necessary action, the necessary action in the sense, for example, if your acceleration is too much, more than certain limit, immediately it will immediately switch on, or you can say turn off the BMS system from the system, right? And generally that will not happen. Generally the inverter also has a control, because there is a understanding between the inverter of the motor, because that is what something is going to accelerate, right? The inverter is what going to supply the acceleration current to the motor, or take the acceleration current from the BMS. So there is a understanding between the algorithm is in such a way that the BMS system will continuously communicate with the inverter of the motor. So any type of sudden acceleration or sudden deceleration will be taken care by the BMS map. And if there is a question from another person, what can be the maximum speed by Darley, Mr. Okay, so see, maximum speed in the sense, I don't know which speed you're asking, whether you're asking the maximum speed of the vehicle or the maximum speed of the motor, sir. Whether it is a maximum speed of the vehicle you are asking, or if it is a maximum speed of the motor, both the cases, it depends upon the vehicle type. So if it is a two-wheeler, the limitations will be different. Cars, different limitations will be different. Maybe what I will do, let me show an example. Let me show an example of a battery pack. Okay, so that that means example parameter of the battery pack, so that you will understand how it will look like. Okay, let me take a BMS. Wait a moment, let me show an example BMS specification, so that you will understand what is generally shown in a BMS system. An example, let me take an example. Yes, yes. So this is an example of a BMS. So it's opening. So I believe, yes. So this is an example of a BMS. So maybe to make you people understand, let us say there is a brand called Lithium Balance, with which actually it's a Denmark-based company which is manufacturing BMS. And there are many types of BMS, master type and a slave type, and different types are there. Let me show the specification to you people, so that you people can understand generally, what do you say, let me show that the specifications. So what is generally there in a BMS generally. Sorry, so this may not be the file. Wait a moment, please, I require your patience. Yes, sorry, this is what I was looking for. Okay, yes. So I believe you can see this. So everyone, guys, are you able to see the specification which I'm showing? Is it visible?
Yes, it is visible. Yes.
Yes. So if you see the specification of a BMS, so this is what a specific BMS specification will be mentioning. Say, for example, this is a BMS. This is a compact battery management system for a 24 cell application. Okay, so up to 24 cells in series you can connect for this application. Let us see what is the voltage and all this. Say this particular BMS will need a power supply of 6 to 35 voltage, and it will need it can work up to a maximum of, say, the high voltage measurement. It can perform up to 0 to 120 volt DC, and the accuracy of measurement will be plus or minus 1 voltage. So I believe it is visible very clearly. And you can see the range measurement of the range of current measurement also. So plus or minus 200 millivolt, up to 200 millivolt it can measure. And the range of current measurement input, the Hall sensor input for the Hall effect sensor input, which is for the current measurement, also is been given. Accuracy of that has also been given. You can see accuracy of the temperature. So you can see the accuracy is given plus or minus 1 degree to 40 to 85 degrees Celsius. Say plus or minus 1 degree, that is an accuracy being given for this particular BMS. And what is the type of CAN communication it is going to have? Right, it is having a CAN 2.0 A or B. That is generally the automotive protocol used in the BMS. And they have given very clearly how much number of cells this particular BMS can support. So up to 24 cells it can support. And what is the topology? It has been very clearly mentioned. It's a dissipative topology. And the balancing current, this is very much important. When you are selecting a BMS, we have to see what is the balancing current. It should not have a very huge balancing current, right? So the balancing current should be as much as lower as possible, because if I am having a very huge balancing current, then obviously you consider, if you remember, when I'm keeping the vehicle in parking condition without my vehicle is not turned on, in this case if my balancing current is very huge, then it will consume the battery pack, right? So you have to be very careful when selecting the BMS. So these are the parameters generally, right? So we have to see all the parameters, the temperature. This is how that the overall current it can supply. This is what the parameters which you should consider when you are deciding the battery pack or selecting a battery pack. So this lithium balance is one of the service provider for us. So if you need any support, if you need any BMS for your application, we can provide it from you, because our partner is the authorized service provider for lithium balance. So you can definitely reach us for this time. And is there any additional batteries for emergency? If so, it will be connected to the BMS. Sir, actually we have an auxiliary battery pack system that is there obviously in a battery pack, but it depends upon, generally it is normal electric vehicle, it is not there, but they call it as range extended electric vehicle. In range extended electric vehicle, it can do that job. Range extended electric vehicle, actually it can perform that job of if you have additional backup you need, it can help you on that way. And so Mr. Feridnan, you have asked the question, what is the factor of deciding the series and parallel connection of the cells? Sir, very simple. Say, for example, it is completely depend upon how much power your vehicle needs. That means your motor needs, basically, right? Your motor is what going to run your electric vehicle, or your inverter is what going to run your motor. So it is that power of your inverter or the motor which is going to decide the decide how much cells in series you want and how much cells in parallel you want. Because cells is something, if I have one cell of 4 voltage, right, then I need to get a system of 96 voltage, then I need to connect around 24 cells in series, right? So yes, 24 cells in series. So similarly, if I want for 400 Ah, and if I'm having 100 Ah in one cell, then I have to connect 4 cells in parallel, right? So that completely depends upon, sir, depend upon the current consumption from the battery and cell level. So but there are many deep considerations, sir, when you are selecting the series and pack. I think coming week I am conducting a session on art of state of the art of lithium ion battery pack design. I think there are many faculty members already registered for that session. So if you are interested on understanding more about the battery pack design, then definitely try to join that session. Uh, let me show that sessions brochure also to you, so that you'll be able to understand. So there is a session happening. So this is the session brochure which happened in the last week. The similar session we are planning. So this is the problem statement session which we did last week. So we did a session on problem statement for electric vehicle on electric drives and inverters. So that was especially for people who are doing research activity in that area. And similarly, coming week we are planning for some session on battery pack design. So definitely we will inform you all people on that activity. So so I explained that answer. And the other thing is, can you explain any SOC curve of the initial charged battery? Maybe sir, yes, definitely we have the data sir, but particularly this session, it is in this session it is a limited, we cannot give all information. But if you need that information, definitely if you reach us to my email or phone number, definitely we will be able to do the session. This session has some difficulties because it is there are something which cannot shown, everything cannot be shown in this session itself, right? So try to attend our upcoming sessions, and feel free to answer, feel free to reach us sir. I have shown you once again I will show the contact number. I'll show the contact number to you people so that you should not have any problem in reaching me. So try to reach to this number, try to reach me to this number. Kindly note down the contact number and the email ID I'm showing you. So try to reach to this number, sir, madam. Try to reach to these contact details, and definitely we'll be able to solve any query, because the questions what you asked are definitely we can answer those questions. It is not we cannot answer, because but it requires a lot of data to be showing in the slide, and without that I cannot explain you. But feel free to reach me for any further queries. Right, I'm giving it over to ma'am. I'm giving it over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Karl Crowley on behalf of our management department of EEE RMT Engineering College. I extend very hearty vote of thanks to Mr. Prashant Kumar Palani, Automotive Homologation Consultant, Haritha Technologies Private Limited, Bangalore, for allotting his precious time with us for Day 2 Faculty Development Program on Understanding Battery Management Systems. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation for Mr. Prashant Kumar Palani for his explanation about the importance of battery management system, sir. Before attending this session, we thought about just BMS, but now it is eye-opening session for us to understand about the full concept of BMS. Thank you very much, sir. As you said earlier, this session will be eye-opener for our participants to pursue their research work or to guide their students also. Once again, I thank you, sir, for your interesting and valuable information. And I thank all the participants who are joining and being passionate listeners here. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you, participants. I request all the participants to fill up the Day 2 feedback or attendance form provided in the chat box. It will be provided only in the chat box. And dear participants, we'll meet again tomorrow for the tomorrow's session, same time. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am, I'm ending the session, ma'am. Thank you all the participants. Participants, have you all noted the link for the feedback of today's session?
Prashant, sir, can you post your brochure, sir? Prashant, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you post your brochure here so that we participant attend in future, sir?
Okay.
Feedback form not available.
Maybe
Some feedback
if you can provide the
Feedback
data,
form not
the
available in
email
the
list of
chat
the
box.
participant.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, you can provide the email ID, ma'am, because today evening only the brochures will be ready, and
Okay,
we will post it coming week, coming Saturday, Sunday, 2 sessions are there. So I will give the information to participants, ma'am, through email. So kindly just provide the email. Whoever interested participants, let them attend.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Feedback form not available in the chat box, ma'am.
Ma'am, it is there in the chat box, ma'am. It is. Please see to that.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.